Hello, I'm Steve. A little about myself. I'm a retired law enforcement officer with 20 years of service. I began my career in the jail, worked the road, and became an investigator. During my career, my training consisted of everything from SWAT to becoming a state certified crime scene technician. I've investigated crimes from thefts to homicides. After retiring and becoming aware of true crime and web sleuths, I started my channel for web sleuths to better understand the perspectives of law enforcement. Not only do we cover true crime, I go out into the field and assist families who have lost loved ones to homicide and their cases are considered cold. Join me as we look and bring attention to these critical cases.
Hello, everyone. Glad y'all are able to join us tonight. Tonight, Mrs. Steve is upstairs once again, and she's given the controls over to myself. And so I brought in someone that absolutely cannot fulfill her shoes, and that's Ruckus, but he'll try. And but I want to thank him for being here tonight because we're going to be talking about a case that absolutely is, for whatever reason, has never received the coverage that it deserves. So we're going to do our part. We had a fireman that has declared this Flora a week, and I absolutely agree. And I'm going to do my part to bring as much awareness to this case as I can. And we'll be talking about that case. And as always, in chat, respect families, respect the mods, and respect each other. And during this presentation, if we see any questions in chat, we'll answer them as we go. And everyone just have to bear with me because I'm normally not the one that's in charge of the blue light. That's Mrs. Steve, but I'll do my best. And just want to thank my mods and everybody for assisting me tonight because I'm going to need it. Okay, with that being said, let's bring in our Ruckus 2.0. How you doing, sir?
Marvelous. How are you?
Marvelous.
Marvelous.
Yeah. A little Boston or what?
Just a bit.
Just a bit.
Little. A
Okay.
little bit. Yeah.
All right. In case someone joins us tonight or in the future and they have no idea who you are, give a brief introduction to you and your career and your channel.
All right. My name's Ruckus. I have a channel called Ruckus Rocks Podcast. I'm retired law enforcement. I'm a deputy in county just north of Tampa here in Florida. I'm originally from Boston. I still talk like half a dummy, but it's not my fault. It's the way I was raised. It's just the way it is. When I first moved here to Florida, nobody knew what I was saying, and I didn't know what the hell they were saying either. These really dyed-of-the-wool rednecks. I couldn't understand them either. But I don't have half the experience that Steve does. But, I made it. I retired. I got, we got a couple people that are on YouTube right now that are also retired law enforcement that made it. My hat's off to them as well. Not everybody makes it. Not everybody stays sane afterwards, do they, Steve?
You are correct. And as we look back in our career, we look back and officers have a hard career, and a lot of them don't live and they just don't age well. And I've lost a lot of friends, and I work with some really great men and women that, in my eyes, are legends. And we have to admire people like that. And I thank you for your service.
I thank you for yours.
All righty. Tonight, like I said, we're going to be talking about Flora, and I want to give a shout out to a lot of channels out there. There's channels right now that's taking up this cause. And especially this week. But there's been channels that have looked at this for a long time. Christian behind the crime door has been working on this. I admire her fortitude and how long that she's pursued this case since basically day one. And then you came on the scene and you absolutely have made this one of your pet cases. And what brought your attention to it and why?
Well, initially I was on the Delphi case. And the only reason why I was attracted to that was because they had audio and video of this guy, and there was no arrest yet. And then, of course, that led right to very quickly to, have you heard about the Flora case? And so immediately, I've kind of taken them both on at the same time. They happened in quick succession of each other, and they're in close proximity. It's only like 13 miles away.
Okay. The I saw you had a show earlier with Coach, and he's a fireman. I think he's active still, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a firefighter in the Pittsburgh area.
Okay.
Mhm.
And if y'all haven't checked him out, he is Coach. How do you pronounce his name?
It's Coach Kev's True Crime Talk is the
Okay.
name of his channel.
Yeah, he was unable to attend tonight, but absolutely want to give him a shout out with his channel because absolutely appreciate all he's done for this case and how vocal he has been about this case.
Mm.
But these are the victims of the fire that happened in Flora on November 21st, 2016. In the early morning hours, 4 a.m., where a fire in Flora was reported. And later, the bodies of these young, beautiful children were recovered. And there was a lot of issues about this case that has angered a lot of people and brought focus to it. Because this case happened prior to the Delphi case, just by a few months. And there was a lot of interest brought to it for the fact that at the time, early on, and even more recently, a lot of people still have always thought that there might be some type of link between the two cases. I don't believe so, but there's still people out there argue that. But they also argue the fact that there's a lot of arson in that part of the state and or in Indiana. And what's your thoughts as far as what type of, if there's any links to other arsons in the area, Ruckus?
There's a high, excuse me, statistics. Okay, there's a lot of infant deaths, and by infant I mean anybody 10, 12, and younger, children that are dying in fires in that area, and it's like 4 or 5 times that of the national average, and it's in that general area. So there's something. It could be coincidence, but I mean it's a big number. When you look at it, it's a big number, and like I said, it's like 4 or 5 times national average in that general area. So there's something that needs to be looked at. As far as Delphi goes, I have not seen one thing that ties those two cases together. It's all speculation. Most of it is. In these two cases, we don't have a lot of information from law enforcement, and rightfully so. They're doing their job. But there's nothing that points to Delphi from Flora or from Florida to Delphi that I've seen anyway.
The What's one of the most disturbing facts that absolutely shouts out to you of what is wrong with the system and what is um, going on with this? Because people are screaming cover up and lawsuits and all the other things. And so what's your thoughts on those?
Now I've looked into it enough to know that there's definitely the good old boy system is alive and well there. Uh, the fire marshal who worked for Homeland Security, Dennis Randall, he was actually on scene at that fire, and his son Adam was the fire chief of the fire department that responded to that fire. There's a couple coincidences that demand more scrutiny. Randall ended up just kind of sweeping it under the rug after they put the fire out, got the victims out. They cleaned up immediately before they could do a proper investigation. They didn't send any of the materials to the lab or anything like that. So they didn't do a very good investigation on it. Somebody figured that out, and a whistleblower, sent some emails, and that got the ball rolling. And Dennis Randall resigned over this. So, and also Adam, his son, resigned as the fire chief over this whole thing. Didn't leave a good taste in my mouth. They got to resign with their full package, their full retirement after all this.
Yeah, we see that often for whatever reason they're allowed to just um, go into the mist and the fog of war and just disappear. And sadly, a lot of times you that stops the flow of information because uh, as long as they're there and they're under threat that possibly losing a job or losing retirement, that you lose that edge. And but I know every time I was before a review board, I don't know if you was ever before a review board or
Yes, I have.
sometimes those review boards are being headed up by certain officials with higher credentials. But anyway, Single Mama Ford, this is in Flora, Indiana, which is in Carroll County, which is just a few miles from Delphi. And I've driven by Flora, but every time I go up north, I've worked in other cases or meeting with other people, and I haven't, sadly, I haven't been able to have the time to dedicate towards this case. But Ruckus is, if everything works out in July, um, we are traveling north together. And we absolutely will be stopping by in Flora, spending some time there, and then going on up to Delphi. And then we got to go to Iowa and probably even Chicago. So we have a full schedule in
It's going to
July.
be fun.
Well, I don't know what you call fun, but you know, uh, we'll see.
Well, anybody that lives in the area along the route, if you could please go to the post office and remove our pictures before we get there. That would
Yes,
be a big help.
especially on the way back. Especially on the way back.
Yeah.
All right. But then well, another thing that was very disturbing about this case um, is this one point right here where the fire was, arson fire, and where the fire department is. Every fireman in the country that is in any type of shape probably could run from one to the other in less than a minute. And the reaction time, and now I know it's a volunteer fire department, and sadly so for that part of the country, but still, the response time and then the response of getting equipment on site all led to, I think, the loss of these lives. What do you think?
Absolutely. No doubt about it. Um, it was actually two blue canaries that showed up first.
Explain to them what blue canaries are.
That's law enforcement. You've heard the old canary in a coal mine. They carry a canary in the coal mine. If the canary dies, then they know that it's not safe to go down there. Well, law enforcement has no business running into a burning building. They end up being victims themselves, and they have to be saved by the fire department. So they call law enforcement blue canaries because we want to help, but we just don't know what the hell we're doing.
Yeah, I
So
mean, fire. There's always been this. I guess uh, not so much as antagonizing, but we go at each other's firemen. I look at a fire truck. When I see a fire truck, I see Walmart because there's nothing on that truck that I can't use in my patrol car. And so,
absolutely,
I mean, they have all the best stuff. I mean,
yeah.
and it's all clean and pretty. They got gloves. They've got, you name it. They got tools, and they have to watch us, and we have to watch them because they'll lock your car doors and roll the windows up. And I don't know if that's the way it is in Florida, but that's the way it's here in Georgia.
You ever have one of them run a hose through your car, roll down both windows, and run the hose straight through your car?
No, but I've seen them take radio mics, disconnect them from your radio, so, and hide them. They'd hide them in the car somewhere. But, yeah.
It's not as bad in Florida as it is up north, though. Up in Boston, it's really bad. I have some friends that were firefighters and some friends that were law enforcement up there, and it's pretty bad. But the
Well,
main thing with this being so close, okay, when the dash cam has been released from one of the Carroll County deputies, Yoder. Now, when he got there, the mother, who was already injured, already inhaled a bunch of smoke. She had some damage to her lungs from breathing in the smoke. She's standing in front of the house, hysterically screaming and pointing at a window just above the porch, saying that my children are there. Now, 11 times out of 10, when a mother tells you her children are there, that's exactly where the children are. So that's where they needed to go. Every fire truck has a ladder on it. And I'm here to tell you, Steve, you and I would have boosted each other up onto that porch roof, or drove a car there and got on that roof and could have walked and saved the girls. Nobody
I,
did that.
I would have probably done a little bit better because my boss was always mad about me because I always tore up my equipment. But I just got in the fire truck and drove it up into the front of the house and jumped on it and walked right up on top of it. You
Exactly.
know, fire trucks have all different kinds of ways to climb up, and what's more important, a fire truck, or I think they, or those victims' lives. And so, just pull it up there. If it burns, it burns. It wouldn't be the first fire truck that ever burned up in the country.
No.
And so, there's a lot of different ways. Use what tools you have at your disposal, and but of course, a ladder works too. But for me, you don't want me on a ladder. Uh, you know, there's no need to increase the people that's going to need assistance.
Hmm.
Uh, I've fallen off a lot of ladders in my training in my days.
Now, the cause of the fire has been under scrutiny. It started out that they said that there was accelerants in multiple locations throughout the structure. And then they settled on there was accelerants in the back hallway only. The mother still hasn't been paid. She's still in litigation 6.5 years later, coming up on 7, with the gentleman that owned the home. Now, there's some more twists to this. The gentleman that owned the home, his brother lived behind that structure that was on fire, that home. His wife called her brother-in-law, the homeowner, first to tell him that his house was on fire. And then 6 minutes later, called 911. They haven't released the 911 tape. They have it sealed. Nobody knows why. People are speculating. I have no idea what kind of evidentiary value would be in a 911 tape in a case like this, but there has to be something if they're keeping it sealed. And there's also a gag order surrounding this case. Sounds a lot like Delphi, doesn't it? That's the way they do business in that area.
Well,
Now, go
go
ahead.
ahead. No, you're fine. Keep going.
Okay. Now, when she called 911, it was 6 minutes later. Now, Coach Kev, he's a firefighter. He said that a fire of a structure like that will double every minute. So, as you can imagine, 6 minutes is a long time when it comes to a fire engulfing a certain area. The layout of this house was strange. It was a single family dwelling. They made it into a two family. So there was a set of stairs inside that went up to one single bedroom. And then the rest of the second floor was another apartment. And the girls were upstairs in that single bedroom. So that staircase basically worked like a chimney. And the firefighters and some of the bystanders before the fire department got there were breaking out the windows. Fuel, wood, diesel, gas will eventually burn off. But the best fuel for a fire is air. And a fire will burn as long as it has air and something to burn. So they're just letting air in, and that thing went ablaze after they knocked out the big window in the front. It just went crazy. Nothing made sense what they did. Nothing.
And let's look at a couple of the questions here. Um, says that the fireman just stood there. I know nothing about firefighting, but you don't tend to see them standing around, and that's true. Typically, firemen, for whatever reason, they have a special calling, and they have their equipment, they have their training, and they look forward to running into fires. I mean, they're trained to do that, and to be able to conquer that fire quickly, and that doesn't seem to be that those actions were taken as quickly as could be. You know, the officers first on the scene, they were behind the eight ball continuously for the fact that the first person that sees the fire and the first phone calls are made is not to the appropriate authorities. You know, if someone calls me on the phone and says, "Hey, your house is your next door neighbor's house is on fire," I say, "Okay, have you called 911?" Be my first question, and if they say no, then get off the phone. Let's call 911, because every minute in a fire, there's some rule about how fast a fire will double, and it's only every few minutes. I think it doubles in size, and then it just escalates from that. But and that was not the case on this about how they was reacting to the fire, because from the car cams and body cams, you can see, like they said, they seem to be wandering around.
Yeah, there didn't seem to be any sense of urgency whatsoever.
Yeah.
But you can see, and Kevin and I went over that dash cam several times, and you can see this thick black smoke coming out of the front door, and it's a little, about a little bit higher than halfway up the door. Wasn't halfway, but a little bit higher, not quite three quarters, was the smoke coming out of the house, and it was dark black. And they banged that window out, and then the flames just flicked out, and it roared up, and it really turned into a blaze. But then, within seconds, they put water on it, gray smoke, very quickly. They had that under control in no time. And they hustled upstairs, and they got the victims out. Now, there's a couple events that took place during all this. Both of the law enforcement officers had to be life flighted out, as did the mother. They suffered damn near fatal injuries. The girls, somebody made the call, and this really gets my goat, and it's just not, you just have to say it. It's not easy to say. Somebody made the call, even though there was 3 ambulances there, to put these young children in body bags and bring them to the fire station and place them on the floor in the fire station before they were pronounced dead. I'm not sure if they worked the girls, CPR, AED. I have no idea. But you don't do that. You take them to the hospital where they have more intelligent people there that know how to save lives and better equipment, and you let them do their job. There's no excuse for that, none whatsoever.
Oh no, I mean, you know, people are transported every day to the hospital in back seats of vehicles. You can't tell me that there's not a car or a response emergency vehicle there that wouldn't run, that you couldn't have, when you only get one shot at saving life, especially with a child, you never give up. You let someone that has the knowledge, let them make that decision. But for me, and looking at deaths, and I've seen a lot of children that have met their, have taken their last breath in my career. Some of them by drowning, some of them in other horrible situations. But it's absolutely, your heart breaks for them and for their families. But mostly the children are the hardest to deal with emotionally that I've seen in law enforcement.
Yeah, I don't know how they deal with it. You got to be a special breed to be a firefighter to start with. But Sharon said that there's another channel that we may be interested in.
Okay.
That has a video. I don't know what the video that she's talking about. I think I've pretty much seen them all. But you can email it to me at Ruckus Rocks TCP, True Crime Podcast, at Gmail.
No single mom. They did not rescue the girls. They recovered the girls, and wasn't the best of circumstances.
And one of the, I believe it was the oldest one, the extent of her injuries, they were able to surmise that she was sheltering at least one of the other girls, trying to protect them. They range from, I think it was 12 down to, I want to say 4 or 5. Yeah, young girls. Young girls.
Molly says her dad ran into a house similar, kids screaming. He started burning and had to come back out. He was 18, never got over it, and 80 and says still had nightmares. Absolutely. I can, um, I feel sorry for your father that had to live through that for 62 years, and absolutely amazing. Hopefully he's still alive. I don't know. It said he was 80 and it said still had nightmares. But 62 years living with a nightmare is something that, sad for anyone.
Hmm. Yeah, that's, your heart goes
Was this
out.
an older home? Yes.
Yeah, and it was balloon construction. I don't know if you guys understand what that means. Is a fire is going to burn faster, and as you can see in the photo that he has up there now, the structure is on the back of the building there. That's the garage and the back porch area. So you can see the garage in the foreground, and you can actually see the garage door. That garage door could be opened up by anybody. It didn't lock, it didn't work. You could just go lift it up and get access into that back porch area where they found the accelerants. So and they have called this an arson, and they changed it from an accident to first two of the girls was a murder, and then a month later the other two girls were considered murders. So they're positive. So there's an arsonist out there who's responsible for killing 4 children.
And it is so strange um, of that the way that they have approached this investigation. There's been lawsuits, there's been court hearings, there's been suppression of 911 tapes. Have you ever heard of a 911 tape being suppressed this long?
Never,
And,
never.
as far as evidential possibilities on it, that if there was evidence, they've had more than enough time to react whatever's on the tape evidential as far as, okay, there's certain section of it that can't be released. Okay, we'll release everything else, you know, uh,
Hmm.
redact it. I mean, it's not a big deal. And they haven't done that. And I think it's more that there's probably civil issues about uh, protocol wasn't being followed. I think it's more of a civil matter than a criminal matter.
Mm.
That's just my 2 cents of why the county is fighting that if they release it, because we already know that they were behind the 8 ball for 6 minutes because whoever, well, the family member that made that phone call and not calling 911 versus calling the a homeowner was absolutely ridiculous, um, and I'm sure that they regret that decision now. At least I hope they do.
Hmm. And you can see here to the at the first level, the first landing of the stairs, you see is almost a pinkish hue. The whole outside of the house is asbestos lapping, so it's made of asbestos, and we all know that that's not too good to have on fire. It's fire retardant material, but it's dangerous. There's people who die every day from cancer from asbestos.
Carolyn says, I know it lacquers and stuff look like accelerants. How good is fire science for this situation? Science is science. These guys in these labs and these chemical bases or chemical base analysis, um, I always had utmost confidence in experts that when you give it to them with some of the technologies that are available now, That they can tell you what was there. But that doesn't, there's still a lot of confusion. Now, we don't know, but I believe that the proper authorities know exactly uh, what chemicals are in there. What do you think about that, Ruck?
Absolutely. They absolutely know. But they haven't released the lab reports. I don't know if you folks know who Tim Corbett is, but he works cold cases, 48 years, law enforcement veteran. He has his own private investigating firm as well. He's involved with this case now as of a couple days ago, and
Excellent. Hadn't heard that. Good,
oh
good,
yeah,
good info.
yeah, he called me this morning, Steve, and he told me in no uncertain terms. I don't know if you've ever spoken with him or heard him speak. You'd love him. He's one of us. He's definitely one of us. He called the state prosecutor, the DA, and he wants answers whether or not this is under a gag order and why this stuff hasn't been released. And he said that he's going to get to the bottom of that part of it for us. So that's going to be a huge step because none of us can make any headways. Nobody gives a shit that I'm retired law enforcement.
No.
But he's got the clout. He's worked some national cases.
And that's something that we can take note of, that we collectively have clout. Individually, not. Who cares about any one channel? But as we saw with the Murdoch trial, and then with the Smith situation with Stephen Smith and his death investigation, and how public opinion absolutely turned that state around to saying, oh, yes, we're going to look at it. Yes, we're going to reopen it. We're going to participate in this investigation alongside private investigators. And and I think absolutely this is exactly the same situation that needs to be brought forth with all the powers to be and all the channels, and get as much awareness brought to this to scream that let's, do the right thing, give these girls a chance at justice, and let's apply the pressures and bring whatever resources, because I'm pretty sure the state of Indiana has resources they can bring to this to bear that they haven't yet, and the federal government also, just like they did with Stephen Smith in South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yep.
that's my 2 cents and on my crate.
Well, this is just it's the twists and turns in this are as bad as Delphi. They they really haven't done a good job, and Doug Carter actually said that this was a bad day for ISP. They should have took more control of this. There was not a they didn't consider it a crime scene, even though there was 4 deaths, almost 7. There was 4 deaths in this fire, and they did not secure it as a crime scene. They lost valuable evidence. They lost the smoke detectors, if you can believe that. Um, yeah, it's they're not doing a very good job around Carroll County taking care of business, and I hope that that gets tightened up. I really do, because it seems to be a really nice area, and I've gotten to know a lot of the locals, and they're sweethearts. They're really nice people, but they're just feel like they're being through the ringer. They're not getting the justice that they feel that their neighbors deserve, and I can understand that.
I'm just trying to get caught up in chat there, so the floor is yours for a few minutes there while I try to bring my chat to organization.
Okay, I certainly understand. I've been sitting right in your spot. It's not easy, is it?
Oh, Mrs. Steve. I'm gonna blame it totally on her.
She's invaluable, isn't she? She's the cog in this machine.
Oh no, she's a lot more than just a cop. And I'm gonna tell her that, and you're gonna have to make up for that.
Okay. Well, I'm saying you take that cog out and it stops working. That's what I mean by that. But if you take the investigation that they did on this case, Dennis Randall tried to wrap it up in a neat little bow real quick and just sweep it under the rug. We don't know what the motive is. We do know it's arson. We do know that whoever gets charged with this is going to be charged with 4 counts of murder. Now, Doug Carter made the statement soon after this that the girls were never intended to be hurt in this fire. Why he said that, I don't know. They know more than I do, obviously, or any of us do. They're not going to tell us. And rightfully so. I mean, it's an active investigation. But the owners have refused to tear the house down, which I don't understand. They leave it just standing there. There's another YouTuber called Thomas Frost. Very good kid, local to that area. He went there the other day, and the police were called on him. While he was on a live, he found a burnt book underneath that set of stairs right there that we're looking at. And he got chastised by a police officer who he said was pretty polite, but he told him he had to leave. Why they don't tear this house down is beyond me. It's crazy.
I look forward to you getting chastised while we're there.
You know I'll do it. You watch how quick I badge him.
Yeah. Just what part of the sidewalk do you own?
Yeah, exactly. Well, there's 2 of us. I mean, I'll go right, you go left. Let's just get that down now.
Yeah.
Good luck catching 2 fat guys going in different directions.
Steve, why other than information would law enforcement want to keep 911 calls secret? Well, sometimes governments, for whatever reason, and the worst case scenario is that they realize that there's something in there that protocols weren't followed, and that certain information might knock them from the or exclude them from any type of insurance coverage that would assist in paying out any liability. Hopefully that's not the case, but that is a possibility of why the county is fighting it. I'm not saying it is, but it wouldn't be the first county that cut corners or try to hide certain facts that led some part that they're trying to conceal, that by the failure of proper training, reaction, response, that could have led to these deaths. I hope that's not the case, but it is a possibility.
Now, the homeowner was paid the insurance money. The mother is still in litigation against the homeowner's company to get
but I'm
compensation.
talking about the county's insurance, that if 911 failed to respond properly, law enforcement, fire departments, on their side, nothing to do with what the fire or the insurance on the insurance side on the private sector, but on the government sector. Because governments have insurance also. When law enforcement is sued, I don't know if you, well, yeah, I don't even want to ask you how many times you've been sued.
And they get it backwards, man. I've been sued for $1 million, and they sue the sheriff's office for $5,000. You got that shit backwards, dude.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They must be doing it for practice.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I've been there.
Yeah. And my first question was like, hey, where's the vicarious liability there, Sheriff? Isn't that what you're here for, to take the heat, dude? But they've got, I was going to go somewhere with this, and I lost my train of thought. When they initially did this investigation, when they started, yes, Thomas Frost, Lisa, he's very good, very good. When they first did this investigation, as soon as that fire was out, they pulled out the shovels and they cleaned this place out. Cleaned it out. And so there's nothing to go back on. There wasn't. As soon as the fire was out, there was nothing to go back on. So everything, it just looks shady as all get out.
This is something that's interesting. This is a great thought. Do you think they were thinking arson for insurance money? Now, I don't know about how it works up there in Indiana, but here I've seen insurance companies absolutely, as long as it's arson, they do not pay out.
In Indiana, they will pay out for an arson as long as the owner is not implicated.
Huh. That's
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah. I'm gonna start buying real estate in Indiana, out in the woods. But there's a lot of twists and turns that revolve around this case. I don't know if you guys have seen Meow Zedong. She's fantastic. She is an encyclopedia on this case. If you watch her channel, she's everywhere this week. She's friends with Galen, the mother. The mother left Flora and hasn't been back. She's just now coming out and speaking. She's been on a few lives with Meow. She's a sweetheart, and you listen to her talk about her daughters, and it breaks your heart. If you go and look at Meow's page over the weekend, it breaks your heart. Listen to her talk about her daughters, and it's heartfelt. She's a beautiful person. She should not have to go through this, and
And
they
this
don't
is a
give a
good
shit.
point here also. The cost of tearing a house full of asbestos is huge. Yes, because it has to be handled and it has to be um, done in um, a manner that doesn't endanger the public. And um, I can see where that would be an issue with this house, especially as large as it is. And so they um, actually, um, there's certain industrial plants that follow this same baseline of that we will never um, um, close the plant. They'll hire private security in an abandoned plant because it's cheaper to pay for 20 years of security guards versus the environmental impact of trying to tear the plant down, clean and do the EPA route, because it would be billions, if not, well, yes, it would be billions of dollars on certain areas that I know about here in Georgia. And is that the case with this? That the city just isn't enforcing some type of abandoned property and that it needs to be tore down due to that there is a good old boy system or something, um, because it is a hazard, and why isn't it being torn down? But I know in the big industry world that they'll just simply hire security guards and say, nope, we have people on the premises, it's still our property, and we may open it back up one day. And so, and they circumvent the EPA laws.
I'm sure that they would have to tent this
Oh
house
yes.
and then remove and it's not just the vinyl lapping. I mean the exterior lapping. I'm sure there's asbestos all through that house. It's got to be all through that house. So yes, that's a big undertaking, no doubt about it. But what are they gonna do? Leave it standing like that? You know.
Yeah, JDR has this correct. Mrs. Steve is not the cog in the wheel. In the wheel, she is the wheel.
Somebody said she's the neck that turns the head.
Yes. Oh yes. Oh yeah. Oh, she's almost wrung my neck a few times. I can tell you that.
I love her. She's awesome.
Oh man, you talking about chief of security? Um,
Yeah. You got a $2 super sticker from Mark Macaluso.
Good, Mark.
He calls me Boston Cream.
Actually, uh, we're going to be up there in his neck of the woods, and I've been promising to sit down and have a cup of coffee with him.
I'm down for it.
And so he's where is he from? Um, um, it's not far from where we're going to be. I'm trying to think of the town. It escapes me at the moment. But I had 4 appointments to sit down with coffee with him, and I love my coffee. And every time I made an appointment, something came up, and I had to um, uh, change plans, and I felt so bad about that. Yeah, and so Mark, there's your blue light, and I'm gonna bring a guest with me so that when we sit down to have coffees, um, you'll have to deal with two of us.
And one of us you won't be able to understand.
Hey, hey, I know I have a slight Australian accent, but
Yeah. Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
Uh, yes, uh, it's Kokomo, um, and um, and so I look forward to seeing you there, sir. Uh,
That's close to Lafayette and Delphi and all that, isn't it?
it's about 35, 40 minutes across cornfields. Um,
Okay.
I don't know if you know anything about cornfields, but you're going to get an education.
Okay. No, I don't know anything about cornfields.
Yeah, you're going to get quite the education of um, if you don't have some type of map system or app, you're just lost. I mean, every intersection looks exactly the same. Corn.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely amazing.
Well, I call it con.
Okay.
Con. Yeah. There's no I in it. It's
Yeah,
con.
yeah. You've got about four too many N's in that.
I was making. Do you know who Jinx is?
Yes. Is she from Kentucky or something?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, you were in the chat earlier on
Oh
my
yes.
channel.
That's the first time I think I had heard her speak one time before on another, um, but another channel, and she does have a country accent.
I didn't know the word country had 5 syllables until I heard her say it. She's a sweetheart, though. I love her. She's a good kid.
All right.
Now, Fox 59 News, and I'm glad you put that up because that's what I was getting to that I forgot. They sued the county to release the 911 tapes. And the county either had to release them or pay a $30,000 fine. So they have decided rather than release them, they're going to pay that 30,000, but they're going to fight it in a countersuit. So it's going to cost them another 30,000. So that's $60,000 that they're willing to spend to keep that sealed. But yet that same week, the prosecutor asked for another $5,000 or $10,000 for the Delphi case, and they said no. I don't understand how that place works. Whoever's controlling the purse strings doesn't have a clue.
And like I said, I mean, you look at these children; they deserve better than that.
Mm-hmm.
And and I'm sure that certain protocols and have been changed, or at least I hope so, so that we never address that or have this issue again. But without full um, transparency, we'll never know because we have to see what the problem was and why it's being. If they just came out and made the statement, how easy to come out and say, "Hey guys, this is the statement. This is why we can't release it."
Mm.
And just absolutely lay it out. That
Yep.
would be so much further along. Just tell me or tell the uh, everyone that has an interest in this what the cause is, and we understand. You know, um,
Yep.
um, and it's not a big deal. But that's not the course they've chosen.
No, I don't understand the way they think. And there's no way that this can be a conspiracy. I mean, that would be huge. There's no way it's a conspiracy. But it's just, I'm here to tell you, Steve, I like you, but I am not going to prison with you or for you. That's not going to happen. And that's what's happening there. People aren't going to keep secrets when they could go down with the ship as well.
Mhm.
Now, I'm seeing a lot of comments that people have never heard of this case, and they're asking about the girls being buried and stuff. And yes, the girls are buried in Flora. They have um, grave markers, but they want to get headstones. So Meow is selling T-shirts and sweatshirts and the such, and all the proceeds of that is going towards getting the girls headstones. She also has a cash app for her and a cash app for Galen, the mother, so you can donate directly. I did a live. Actually, if you wanted to watch it, you could see how Tim got involved with this, Steve. I had him on a live this past Monday. I had him, Meow, and Coach Kev. So it was a great panel. And it has all the information there if you want to buy the merch, if you want to just donate money. All the information's right on that live, and it's not that long either. It's scrolling across the bottom. Cynthia has a $5 super sticker.
All right. Thank you, Cynthia. We appreciate your support. And absolutely. And if anyone, some of the mods that know how to operate this Google machine, if they can find Meow's channel, I'd appreciate if you could post that link to it. I'd thank you for that. And thank you for finding the super sticker. Like I said, Mrs. Steve normally does this.
Mm-hmm. I missed a $50 one day. Never
Uh-oh.
mentioned it. Yeah.
Well, I miss a lot.
Yeah. I felt horrible. People, take the time and their hard-earned money, and it just I was so far behind in chat.
We can get coffee in Cincinnati also.
Yes, sir. Well, hey,
up north. We're gonna have quite the trip up there, guys.
We already have plans. We got to hit Purdue RNs,
Yes.
and then Jinx, and we have to tell them which one makes the best biscuits and gravy.
Well, I'm kind of partial. Because if she is a better cook than Purdue RN, then she's coming to Georgia and giving lessons to Mrs. Steve.
Well, if we play it smart, if we give like a wishy-washy answer, we can stop on the way back and get it again before.
Yes. That's spoken like a true man that has eaten many meals.
Yes, sir. I didn't get this big watching people eat. You can believe that.
Mark says, which week are you planning to be here? We haven't finalized. We're going up for the memorial in Iowa regarding Lyric and Elizabeth. And I think that's on the 15th. And we just don't know if we're going to be leaving the week before or the week after or splitting it. But as it gets closer and we see what the weather patterns are, I just don't want to go up there during bad weather and restrict some of our activities.
And congratulations to Mark. He's a pawpaw now. He had a grandson, Lincoln, last night.
Thank you, Cynthia, on your super sticker. Appreciate it. Let's see here. Oh, Lincoln. Now, that's a great name.
Mm-hmm. Lincoln. You don't hear that much either.
You're correct. I haven't. As far as a first name, I don't know if I've. Other than what was that movie with where Kevin Costner was a postman? That guy was named Lincoln Ford, I think.
Oh, okay. Lincoln Ford.
Huh?
Lincoln Ford.
Yeah.
Should have named him Chevy.
Here we go. My favorite commentators are Steve and Ruckus. I truly enjoy each of your shows and commentary. Great job. Thank you, sir. That's very kind of you. What I do to the King's language is terrible.
You and me both. And Plymouth Rock is in my home state. I don't have any excuse. I should be speaking the Queen's English, but no.
Uh-huh. I have a great grandson named Lincoln. Excellent. Like I said, it's a great name. I wish I'd thought of that.
Yeah, that's a great name. Absolutely. I'm really looking forward to this trip.
Oh, I am too. And it's an important trip. Like I said, we're going to stop by and pay our respect here at Flora. And then Delphi will absolutely be so much boots on the ground. And that's one thing a lot of people don't realize that, and I try to always bring that point up, that you can look on all the videos you want, all the articles, read them. You can look at Google Earth. But once you stand in the places of these crimes and these tragedies, you truly don't see and look through it the eyes of the offender until you do so, and it gives you a whole new perspective, and you begin to see things that they saw at some moment during their crime. Let's see here. What else we got? All righty. Um, let's see. Is there anything else that we have missed that you would like to bring up tonight?
I touched on all the high points. Um, you could literally talk for 12 hours on this and not even scratch the surface. I'm not as smart on this as Kevin and Coach Kev and Meow are.
Oh no. And like I said, there's quite a few I respect out there. Meow, of course, has always been one that a lot of channels have depended upon with her information to create content, and she shared it, and I absolutely appreciate that. And like I said, Christian behind the crime door, um, Coach, he is absolutely created this week, which I thought was absolutely brilliant, and um, of what he's done and trying to bring awareness and trying to bring focus so that we can get public opinion um, on the side of justice for these young children, and it needs to be. Um,
Hmm.
uh,
And he wanted to be here tonight. The only reason he's not is he was recently, just a few days ago, elected union president for his local union. So he had to go show his face tonight, he said.
ah,
Yeah. He's in that high cotton now. He's got to show his face.
well, yeah, there's nothing that can go wrong with unions and,
No.
and union presidents.
Yeah.
There's nothing,
What could possibly go wrong?
yeah, with true crime and union presidents.
Yeah. Exactly.
Oh, I'll aggravate him about that if I ever get to speak to him. I've never met the man, spoke with him one on one yet, but I look forward to it.
He looks forward to meeting you as well. We were talking about you the other day before the show. L.A., of course, was telling him that, you and I are against him, and we tag team.
OLA. Yes, I can't wait, like I said, to take him hunting with us.
That was brilliant. You got to dress in a bear suit and run. Oh, that was beautiful.
uh,
Even Grizzly got a kick out of that one.
yeah. All right. Let's see here. What we got? Oh, okay. Um, and hi, Steve. Finally finished my mind map for Delphi. All right. Um, mind maps are above for people that can create these things. Um, they're absolutely amazing. I just don't have the skill sets for that. But for those people that can, they explain and link. It's what we would do in the old days, as far as the old connect the dots on the old pegboards
With the
with
yarn.
string. With string, yeah. Or you have these. You got your markers and you're, you know, drawing arrows, and this is how it's connected, and your index cards, and it's just a mess.
Overlaid with pictures and
I made one of my uh, commanders. I was in CID, and he came in. He had bought this beautiful map. It was, I don't know, 6 foot by 8 foot, and and he said, "Put this map on this board," and the board was like 4 foot by 5 foot.
all right, which part's gonna go?
Well, by the time I finished with the scissors, oh, he cussed me for a long time.
Those aren't cheap either. You got a
No, no, it was a beautiful map, and but I cut it all to pieces, and I got it on that 4 foot by 5 foot, and it, like I said, it was probably a 6 by 6 or 6 by 8 map to start with, but I fixed it.
$20 super sticker from Molly Thompson.
Thank you, Molly. Appreciate your support. It means a lot to us. We'll use this monies on our trips as we go up and work these cold cases. Absolutely appreciate it. Um, Thank you.
I didn't get a chance today to use it, but I use a different program than what you can tell by the aesthetics of it. But I got a new app for it today where money actually falls down from the sky. When people donate, I can hit a button and money falls down. It's a pretty cool program. It's all based on Mac, though. You have to have all Mac. Doesn't work on PC.
All right. Well, guys, I want to thank Ruckus for being here tonight. And like I said, I wanted to do my part as far as bringing as much awareness to this case because it has to be done and it's necessary. Every one of these children, they were loved and they were angels and they did not deserve what happened to them. For anyone to have such evil in their heart that they would even contemplate setting a fire with knowledge or without knowledge of residents being occupied is beyond belief. And they should be dealt with harshly. And the only way that can be done is if justice is brought. And so that's what we pray for, and that's what we hope for. But you have any final words, Ruckus?
No, sir. It's a pleasure being here. Thank you for asking me. And thank you for the questions. Everybody in chat, you guys have been great.
We've got one thing right here. Hold on. Miranda Lee says, did you see my question? No, I didn't, Miranda. Throw it back up there right quick. We got a moment. Go ahead and throw it back up. I'm sorry I missed it.
I didn't catch it either. I apologize, Miranda.
Oh, I'm just a mess when it comes to this thing.
Who are the main suspects in the Flora case? That's what she's asking.
They have hinted, but that they've never spoken to the family at large. Now, does that mean that that's who they suspect? I don't know, but it is a strange statement that law enforcement has tried to insinuate. But I don't know what family at large means. You have any idea who the suspects are, Ruckus?
They haven't come up with any POIs. They haven't even come up with any motive. The only thing that makes sense is money. Insurance job. We used to call it Jewish lightning in Boston. Insurance jobs like that. And that's just a theory. They haven't come out and said that. But there's really not any other there's not any other motive that they can come up with right now.
Okay, Janet, yes, I have failed you also. I missed your question. Go ahead and throw it back up there right quick if you have it.
All right, while she's doing that, I'll scroll up and see. I bet you Mrs. Steve is watching this upstairs and laughing at us.
Oh, well, yeah, I've got to go up and take care of the cog in the wheel, so I'll have to deal with that, and you will too. In about less than about 45 days.
Yeah, I can't wait. And dude, I'm down for anything. I would rather work than drive. So while we're there, I'll stay for 2 weeks. I don't care.
Well, we're going to try to, like I said, there's a lot to be done, and I also got to reach out, and hopefully Cop Facts can join us while we're up there. That would be a great panel of us walking around and discussing a few things.
Jackie Douglas said that she's in the Delphi area as well. I would love to see us.
Oh,
I don't see her question. It must be way up.
okay, here it is. Did Marv get in touch with you about Jennifer Casper Ross?
No.
That name is familiar, but I don't know if it's from Marv or not. But no, I haven't spoke to Marv about that. Not yet. Doesn't mean I don't have an email. Michelle, good to. I'm glad you're feeling better, and I hope you're doing well. And I miss you.
And Perry is great. You're absolutely right.
Oh God, now this is absolutely brilliant. Thanks for doing this tonight. If you need help finding any union leaders in the near future, let me know. She's the one that does searching for grave sites.
Okay.
You're talking about dark humor. Absolutely brilliant. She has a channel, um, and absolutely brilliant. She's the one that went to Texas with us and donated the equipment and her time for that.
And also fit under the house about 45 foot. That's crazy.
Uh,
Like
uh,
okay.
no, go ahead. No, you're fine.
Like I said in my live, if I got under that house and I saw a snake, I would have stood straight up and been in the kitchen. No doubt in my mind.
You burn up one bag of groceries and they never let you live it down.
Oh, I remember that story. But you did save the creamer.
Well, I still have the container up top where it's all melted, and but I didn't discover until the following week that some of the creamer had lumps in it that from the fire of where that creamer
Oh, okay.
in the plastic. It had a nice flavor.
You changed that creamer on the molecular level.
I did.
But that equipment that she brought out there, that was impressive.
It is, and actually, we're having some experts looking at other items, and we're getting information, and we're continuing. I have another meeting Thursday with some more experts on that get some clarification and verifications of what some of the items and artifacts that we're looking at. Just trying to get second opinions so that when we do disclose what's found, that it's accurate versus just shooting from the hip.
And I was already thinking too. I remember her saying some of the stakes that she has are pretty tall. They're like over 6 foot. And you know those pipes with the handles on it that you use to
The
knock in
probes.
fence posts?
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, you're talking about yes.
Yeah, I
The
think
drivers.
one of those would be handy. Put that on it, stand it up, and doot, 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 get that
Well,
thing started.
putting that, she had that one probe that was 6 foot long, and like I said, um, that soil out there was very easy to probe, um, and which was in certain ways very beneficial to us. And we were able to cover a lot of the areas that we needed to very quickly. And it was interesting, her equipment, and that I'd never seen it, and it has great potential for law enforcement. And I'm looking forward to our future.
Yes. Yes, you must have really trusted her. If she told me and I didn't know anything about it that I'm going to be running electricity through the ground here, I'd say, well, let me get in the car first. Get some rubber between me and the ground.
Well, it was one that was designed so that you wouldn't be shocked in case you did that. Plus, we turned off all the live feeds going through that field. Um, so we tried to do everything that we could to make sure that Mrs. Steve didn't get a large payout.
Yeah,
And
well, you'd know if it was getting me because you'd be like, is somebody burning trash?
I don't know if they have a Waffle House in Indiana, but we'll be hitting whatever is within the definition of a Waffle House in Indiana while we travel through.
We'll find something.
Yeah, we'll find something. But anyway, guys, I want to thank everybody for being here tonight. Ruckus, I'm going to throw you backstage, and I'll get with you after the show right quick.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate you being here, sir. All right, guys. I want to thank everybody for being here tonight. Try to share this information, this story, um, um, find other channels, comment on them, give them thumbs up, support them for the fact that we need to make this story known to as many people as possible, because these little children deserve justice just as much as the bigger, higher profile cases out there. But I want to thank everyone that was here tonight. I want to thank all the support. I want to thank our mods, because I couldn't do it without you. And I look forward to our next show. And y'all stay safe out there. See you soon.